Alright, here we are. This is still Dad, Carl, reading John Bunyan's The Pilgrim's Progress, still in Chapter 1. This sinking feeling. In my dream, the once bright day was now cloaked in a creeping fog, making it hard to see ahead. Christian and Pliable had been trudging through the fields for hours, their earlier cheerfulness long since faded. As their journey dragged on, Christian's excitement waned, replaced by a growing sense of regret for leaving the city so abruptly. He began to wonder if he had made a mistake, or if there were other ways to avoid the fiery fate he envisioned. He even began to question whether someone like him could even be accepted into the paradise ahead. Suddenly, the ground beneath their feet squelched. Pliable let out a surprised yelp, and Christian, lost in his thoughts, looked down to find his foot sinking into a thick, muddy bog. Panic surged as the muck crept up his boots, sucking at his legs with a chilling coldness. He turned to warn Pliable, but his friend was already floundering. A putrid stench filled Christian's nose as he fought to keep his balance. The weight of his pack felt like it had doubled, pulling him deeper into the mud. With a desperate cry, he lunged for a clump of reeds, his fingers gripping at the flimsy stalks in a futile attempt to pull himself out. "Christian, where are you now?" Pliable shouted, clawing at the muck. I don't know," Christian sputtered. He battled against the swamp's grip, but each struggle only seemed to muddy him further. Pliable's voice rose again, this time filled with anger. "Is this the happiness you promised, Christian? We're stuck in a swamp right at the start. What hope do we have for the rest of the journey? If I get out of this, I'm going back home. You can keep your paradise." Christian then watched helplessly as his companion made his way out of the muck, leaving a trail of mud and broken reeds behind. Pliable didn't look back once, his lanky figure disappearing rapidly into the distance. Christian never saw him again. Alone, and sinking deeper into the swamp with every passing second, Christian felt a crushing weight settle upon him. The hope that had propelled him forward had now curdled into a thick bleakness, as thick as the muck pulling him down. The weight of his pack, once a manageable burden, now felt like a monstrous anchor dragging him down to his death. Then a sound cut through the swamp. The crunch of heavy footsteps. A colossal creature began to emerge from the fog, lumbering on two legs. Fear gripped Christian as he struggled to stay afloat. The figure's dark outline grew larger with every step, a grisly guardian of the swamp. But then a friendly voice shattered the illusion. "Oi," it called, warm and deep. "What you doing down there, lad?" As the mist began to clear, the menacing figure revealed itself to be a very large, very kind-looking man. He had a bushy beard, and he wore sturdy boots that handled the treacherous ground with ease. He extended a gigantic hand toward Christian. "The name's Help," the man boomed. "Sir," Christian croaked, I was heading toward the narrow gate, the one that leads to safety, but as you can see, I fell into this swamp." Christian felt small as he explained his struggle. He was glad to hear the giant man chuckle, a sound as warm as sunlight breaking through storm clouds. "Aye, the swamp of discouragement," said the man, shaking his shaggy head. "A tricky spot, that. But why didn't you use the stepstones, lad? They're just over there. The help folks like you get across." Christian's face turned red. I was afraid. So afraid that I couldn't see anything but the quickest way out." Help gave a knowing grunt. "Fear. It clouds our judgment. Something fierce. But no matter now. Here, grab my hand." Strong fingers wrapped around Christian's, pulling him out of the muck with surprising ease. He felt a wave of relief as his feet touched solid ground again. "I'd love to chat, but you'd best be on your way," said Help. "The gate is still a good distance ahead." Christian cleaned himself off as best he could, bid a grateful farewell to Help, then hurried away from the swamp of discouragement. Then, in my dream, I found myself approaching Help, the man who had rescued Christian from the swamp. "Sir," I said, "if this is the way to the narrow gate, why hasn't this place been fixed, made safer for travelers like Christian?" Help's smile faded into a thoughtful frown. Ah, this swamp, it can't really be fixed, you see. It's where all the scum and filth of sin gather, all the endless feelings of guilt that brew in folks' hearts. That's why they call it the Swamp of Discouragement. When someone first realizes just how rotten and lost they truly are, all their fears, doubts, drain into this swamp, making the ground rotten too. But the king, Help continued, he isn't pleased that this place is here. His workers, under the guidance of His Majesty's surveyors, have been trying to sort this bit of land for about 2,000 years now. They've carted in countless teachings to fix the ground, the best stuff from all over the king's land. But still, the Swamp of Discouragement remains, and it always will, no matter what they do. Help leaned in closer, speaking in a low voice. It's true that the lawgivers put in steps, good and strong ones, right through the middle of this muck. But when the swamp churns up its filth, especially when the weather's changin', those steps are hard to see. Folks lose sight of the path, and sometimes they stumble. But once they get through the narrow gate, the ground is firm and sure. Meanwhile, in my dream, Pliable had slunk back to the city of destruction. His neighbors visited him, some calling him wise for returning. Others said he was a fool for ever leaving, and still others thought he was a coward for giving up. Pliable was embarrassed at first, but eventually he regained his confidence and joined in mocking Christian behind his back. And this is the sad story of Pliable.